The paradox of choice states that when we are presented with more choices, we are less likely to make a decision. I first learned about the paradox of choice from Barry Schwartz from watching his TED Talk, which is really good actually. Super easy to understand, super easy to digest. And the main message Barry gets across is that the more choices we have, the worse off we tend to be. Now, this sounds counterintuitive. Surely the more choices we have, the better off we'll be, right? Because the more choices we have, the more likely we are to find just the right Netflix film that we really enjoy, or just the right pair of jeans that fit really well, or just the right partner that we're really compatible with, or just the right car that drives well and has good miles per gallon and isn't too expensive. You would think so, but actually, there's three main reasons why having more choice is actually worse for us. The first is paralysis by analysis. This is simply when you have so many things to choose from, it's easy to put off choosing one for fear of making the wrong decision. A classic example is choosing what workout split to follow. There's so many different ways to train. You could either train upper lower, you could train push pull legs, you could train arms one day, chest one day. So many different ways to work out that a lot of people don't even start. Same with the diet. So many different diets to choose from that they just can't pick one. If there was only two diets to choose from in this life, then they'll just choose one. They'll say, okay, it's 50-50 chance. F it. I'll just go with this one. And they'll at least start something, at least try something, at least make a decision. The second reason why too many choices is worse for us is because of something called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost states that when you choose to do one thing, you are choosing not to do others. So say, for example, you can only choose between A and B, and you pick A, that means you've said no to B. Let's say you can choose between A and Z, and you pick A, that means you said no to B, C, D, E, all the way up to Z. The reason this is a problem is because if you're not perfectly satisfied with the choice you make to a T, if it's not perfect, if it's not exactly how you imagined it, it's easy for the attractive features of the other choices to make you less satisfied with your chosen option. And if there's a lot of other choices that you could have chosen but said no to, then the satisfaction of the choice that you did choose just gets less and less and less. A relatable example would be if you load up Netflix and there's only two films to choose from and you choose the first one, and the first film has a little 20-minute, boring segment, you're not too bothered. But if you load up Netflix, as we do, and there's hundreds of films to choose from, and you choose the first one, and there's a 20-minute boring segment, during that 20-minute boring segment, you can't help but think, maybe film choice number 7 wouldn't be so boring. Or maybe choice number 53 would have been entertaining from the start to finish. Or maybe film number 89 would have only had a 2-minute boring segment instead of a 20-minute segment. So do you see how when there's a lot of choices, we can't help but imagine if the choices that we didn't choose, the ones we said no to, might have been better. And the more choices we said no to, the more imagining, ruminating, and overthinking we're going to experience, which ultimately decreases the satisfaction of the choice that you did make. And the final reason, the escalation of expectations. If you load up Netflix and there's only two films to choose from, you're gonna expect less of those films than if you loaded up Netflix and there's hundreds to choose from. Because there's hundreds of films on Netflix, if the one you choose doesn't satisfy you perfectly to a T, you're gonna be disappointed. Because you thought, damn, 100 films and I couldn't pick right? 100 films, 100 different opportunities for me to be satisfied, for me to enjoy every single second, and yet I didn't. I'm not happy with the choice I made. Whereas if you only had a choice between two films, your expectations aren't as high. And we know that high expectations leads to high disappointment. So the higher your expectations are, the more likely you are to get disappointed. Whereas if you have low expectations, you're less likely to be disappointed. And actually the opposite will happen. You're more likely to be satisfied. So when there's less choice, there's less expectation, which equals more satisfaction. When there's more choice, there's more expectation, which equals usually less satisfaction. To summarize, when we have too many choices, even if the choice we make is good enough, we can't help but imagine if the other choices would have been better. And it's this imagination and overthinking that reduces the confidence and satisfaction of the choice that we did make.